Uh, just coming on here today, I'm gonna crack open my caffeine-free Pepsi, and I want to have a real talk with you. And if you're watching this on replay, which is probably where you'll watch it, um, based on the analytics of everything, I just kind of want to say, man, being a filmmaker, sometimes I ask myself if it's actually worth it. My cats over here are fighting. If you want to take a look, see here. Hold on a second. Cats. Yeah. All right. Anyways, so the first thing I want to say is it worth it to be a filmmaker? If you've been following my work or anything on this channel at all, that question seems to be, and it's perceived to be, yeah, it's all worth it to make a movie. I would love to do it, and all this other stuff. And yes, it's exciting to make a movie. And yes, it's exciting to work with other people. And yes, it's exciting to be this and that and doing things that are not normal, everyday things, and becoming, something, and reaching heights of different levels, and hopefully popularity, and hopefully somebody likes your movie. Oftentimes people don't like your movie. That's the first fact. Oftentimes people don't like slow fucking movies. All right? Slow movies, if you're trying to create some type of like film noir, so to speak, is not as well received as I would say other things are. Okay, like other projects and films and movies and stuff like that. So it is one business that does not make me any money. Like I'm on YouTube, and on YouTube we have thousands, hundreds of thousands. I'm almost up to 1 million subscribers, thanks to all you fine folks out there. 1 million subscribers. But that does not translate into money, meaning viewerships and all that. Where I, Adam Steigert, can use this platform to be just a creator for you and to produce content that people want to see. It seems like a lot of people want to see like the whole filmmaking process. And occasionally they like to see a couple of my works to know that, I am who I say I am, I guess you could say. Uh, but at the same time, this industry, I don't know if you've heard me say this before or not, but every single relationship that I've had in my life, be it good, bad, and different, in a relationship with a partner, has all ended because of filmmaking. That's the truth. That's the truth. That is the truth. Every single relationship I've had in my life. I'm 38. Now, I am 38. I'm married, and I thankfully have a very strong partner who appreciates and respects the work that I do. And I'm grateful to that, because you don't really get that very often when you have a relationship that, what do you want to say? If you have a relationship that has a lot of, where your partner actually respects and appreciates you and trusts you and allows you to do things that you want to do, to be your own person, and not only to be your own person, but to allow you to live and do the things that you like to do. Because you as a person, me as a creator telling you a story, depending on whatever you watch on this channel, is me telling you that there is a crisis happening in my life. That's the truth. Every film I've ever made is because there has been a major crisis that has transpired in my life. And people, you watch the films, you may not like them all, and that's fine. You don't have to like my work. That's okay. Creativity is such a broad term, so you don't think you're offending me, but you have comments and stuff, and I do read them, of course, because I want to make better products for you, and I want to learn more, and I want to be able to give back to all of you out there that have helped me become where I'm at. So the first thing I want to say is, every relationship that I've been in, and I'm at a point in my life right now where that fear could transpire again. And that sucks. And for those that don't know, I do not do this full time. I do not do this as a living. I do not do this where I make almost any bit of money. Okay? I spend more money into this than I receive, which is terrible. And you would ask yourself, well, why would you do this? Recently, that's what my spouse has been asking me is, why do you do this if you make no money and it just causes frustration and heartache and whatever you want to say. And you know why I do these things? Why I continue to push myself? Is because without this type of avenue as an artist and being able to create and to tell you a story or to express my opinions and have somebody else respond to those opinions, is something that I really can't describe to you. I've been able to see my films, almost every single one of them, in theaters. And every single one of them had multiple screenings, which I was very grateful to be able to do. And you could tell throughout my career as the films got later, the interest in some of the topics may have not been there for some of the people, which sucks. Because especially right after COVID, COVID happened, and then I released one of our films in theaters, and we were only able to get one screening out of it, where typically I can do 3 to 4 screenings for a weekend, which is, a very great thing to do. You still don't make a lot of money because the fucking theaters try to rip off the independent guys. There's a studio, and it is a mainstream theater chain. There's several of them, but one more than others that will charge somebody for a screening, an independent film artist, $1,000 for their screen for like an hour and a half. $1,000. So you have to start to think here. I want to show that was my cat that just sneezed. I want to show multiple people this. How do I make money in a screening if the theater wants like X amount of dollars, tickets prices have to be X amount of dollars, and then when they become X amount of dollars, do you get the people to come out? Now remember, I'm an indie guy. Think of it as mainstream film. In mainstream film, it's the same way. It's just an indie film. It's a much harder struggle to get your brand into theaters, but $1,000. Okay, I don't know about you, but after you make a film, you know this, or maybe you don't know this. After you go through the whole process of making a film and creating the art and telling the story and spending 5 years of your life working on it, and then you read the comments that people are like, they absolutely hate it, because the positive comments never outweigh the negative comments, because people are more likely to respond to negative than positive. Maybe they'll give it a thumbs up that they liked it versus an actual comment, which is understandable. I got it, I get it, I understand it. But at the same time, do I like it? No, but I have to read these comments sometimes because, and if you follow my page, anything that I post, you will get a comment response on. And hello out there, some guy. Thank you for tuning in and listening to me vent today, because I need more people to communicate with. And I don't mean that in like, oh, I don't have any friends or anything like that. But over the last, since COVID ended, I experienced a severe medical related issue. And it really has kind of crippled me over the years. And it's progressively gotten worse. Um, and my employer, who you know, because this is not my day job, I cannot afford to make movies by myself off of making movies, because I've only had one real successful feature film, and that feature film is the only one that I've ever been able to get royalties on. The other ones, they're mostly still in debt. But hey there, some guy, goodbye. All right, I'll see you later. But yeah, I've been having really bad flares, and my employer doesn't seem to give two fucks. And it seems like everybody out there these days, employer wise, they just don't care about their people. I mean, you got to think about it. You just don't. You get better quality of work from people when you are inspiring. When you're praising the quality of work that they're doing. It allows individuals to learn better as they go. It's like it's a good thing. I've worked with hundreds of people, hundreds. It could be thousands, but specifically hundreds. And out of all those hundreds of people that I've worked with, I've never, there is a very small margin of people you could trust. And that's generally people that work in the inner circle with you. So when I say that it's a very nasty business, it is very nasty. It's destroyed my relationships, as I mentioned before. And I'm in a situation right now where I'm fighting a lawsuit, trying to survive my employer, so that I can continue to not only make films, but like be able to live. So it has caused, I should say, such a tremendous turmoil in my home between my partner and in trying to finish up Ambas 2, which, if you've been on my channel for any length of time, maybe you'll have seen the first film. The second film's almost done, but it's not done, and that's something that upsets me every day, because my time is being utilized in a way that it doesn't need. I mean, maybe this is my calling with what I'm doing regarding the employer thing, but we'll talk more about that as it becomes more public knowledge, because I am not afraid to share that. And, when the time is right, it will be shared if necessary. But at the same time, I just want you all to know that I love you all, in the sense of like your support and, your following, and how you've responded to my work and our work as a group. Has been very uplifting and has really allowed us to want to continue to create. It actually, all the love and support that you have given over the years has allowed me to like keep my mental health in check while going through another crisis, which happens to be this work-related issue. And I know I'm not the only one experiencing it right now. And if you become a member, or if you are a member, I'm not trying to pitch it to you, I'm just telling you, if you become a member or are a member, you can get a little bit more backstory on that, because I have a couple of videos about what's going on legally, regarding my employer, that people seem interested in, but I have restricted it to just like subscriptions now. And my page isn't a big like cost type of thing. It's like $2.99. So if you can afford it and you want to see those videos, go for it. I implore you to do it, because I'm going to keep making more as the cases continue. And I'm going to give a bigger and better picture of the entire story of what's going on with that soon enough. But you tuned in for me to talk about acting, and I want to filmmaking rather, and I just want to kind of vent a frustration I have recently. Like one of the big things one of the things that I've always had problems with is other people's egos around me, or maybe it's my ego. You know, I try to keep it in check, and I also don't do a lot of public events. I mean, I don't do nearly any public events anymore. I used to when I was younger, and wow, it's crazy to even say that. When I was younger, I was all out there gung ho and all that. If you see some of the videos that I post on the channel, you'll know that I'm like always right in the middle center focus of the shots and scenes that we're producing, and trying to create some type of story. So yeah, it's been a crazy life, and I'm only 38, you know? So it's just been a crazy life. And what I'm dealing with right now in my personal life has just been kind of insanely crazy. Um, like today, I actually had to go out sick because I am so mentally ill um, right now that like I can't even function. So I just decided to do this live with all you beautiful people just to kind of like talk, and maybe somebody will listen or maybe you won't. Maybe somebody will just flip through. But one of the things that I really absolutely fucking hate, and if anybody from the Buffalo film community watches this, I'm just gonna be straight with them. I am probably, this is my ego now talking, I'm probably one of the biggest filmmakers in the Buffalo region. But do you know that none of the other filmmakers, most of them, they won't recognize me or acknowledge me as a filmmaker in the industry. They won't. Mm-mm. True, true facts. I've produced bigger films than a lot of the actors that are working out there. I produced a lot more films with a lot more actors in them. I've been able to produce work that has paid talent. I have been able to uh, employ people, like give people a job. Okay, like that's the first thing you have to think about when this is not my primary source of income, is how do I make it a job for those others so that it's beneficial for them so they can live. You know what I'm saying? And as an actor, SAG has rules. Now, independent, we can work a little bit around with that. Hello out there. I appreciate you coming in and tuning in. Hopefully, you're enjoying this random rant that I have. But one of, I'm sure you can relate to this in some fashion out there, you viewer, that, there's a lot of mental illness going on right now. I'm from the United States, so I can tell you that as a United States citizen, our mental health issue is really, really bad. It's really bad. I see it in my job every single day. I see it on sets. I see it with family and friends. It's just a very weird time in history. And I'm not advocating one thing or the other. I'm just saying, no matter what, it's a weird time in fucking American history again. And not only am I exhausted over it, but I'm exhausted over this lawsuit shit that I'm dealing with, and then also trying to make this YouTube job like more full time. Like I'd like to get out of a place that doesn't appreciate me or appreciate the work that I do. There's almost 1 million of you out there watching right now, and you've all subscribed. And if you've subscribed, that means something, right? It means something. Why don't people get married and start a family? Well, you know what? I did get married. And I tried to start a family, and it didn't work for me and my wife. And that's one thing that we struggle with personally, and I just shared it with you all. So keep that on the download, okay? Or deload. Download. Don't. Yeah, no, not download. Down low. Um. Anyways, there's that, of course. But back to this rant that I'm having about Buffalo Film. I also administer. I'm an admin. I run. Um, I run a Facebook page for actors. It's grown immensely. It's probably the biggest Facebook page in the local Buffalo film community scene, called the Buffalo Film Extras. It's on Facebook. If you're an actor and you're somebody that enjoys that type of stuff, go look for it and join it, because if you're looking for work, it's a good place to find it. You know, Sony. I'm trying to think of all the names. Sony, Disney, and what other company? Oh, Sony, Disney. It's been a while. I don't want to say it's Columbia, because Columbia and Sony are the same thing. I can't remember the other company at the moment that has casted from there. But back to this rant. You know, no. So there's an event coming up, and I said to the event host, who reached out to me looking for money and sponsorship, of course, hey, I will sponsor your event financially for X dollars. Only thing in return that I'm asking for is something very minute, which was to be on a panel. Just so I get questions all the time from the local scene about, when am I going to do a public appearance? When am I going to talk about things in a public sense? And then finally I had an opportunity, and I was going to pay for it as a sponsor, only to find out that these folks have decided to invite everybody else to those panels in the local scene, and me whatsoever. And that's fine. You know what? If they don't want to acknowledge me, that's fine. There's other places. I go out to California. I'm from New York, so I've gone out to California several times. I've done events and things. I've traveled the country. I have traveled to different states for different film conventions before. You know, if somebody doesn't want me at their event, you know, no big deal. But the next part of this was, how about the fact that they still wanted my money? You know, they didn't want me to speak or anything, for whatever purpose, probably their own egos, but they still wanted my money. They invited filmmakers on their panels that, in my opinion, are not of the stature for even to be on a panel. But who am I? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my point of view, not from their point of view. Their point of view, these individuals are ideal and will bring in the revenue. I, however, will not be attending the event, and I will not be supporting the event in any fashion. So that's how frustrated I am over it. And the kicker of all this, you ready for this? If you're ready for this, the kicker of all this, the guys that are running it, meaning the people, I'm not saying guys, but the people that are running it, one of them, the main dude, who is a guy, the main dude started off working on my set. Think about that. Think about that. All right, now let's see here. A couple comments. Let me just catch up, folks. I don't give a shit about any of that stuff, but I'm not sure I understand that. And I'm not drinking a beer, by the way. I don't drink. And if I do, it's very occasional. It's caffeine-free fucking Pepsi, dude. Get a life. Maybe you should try it. I don't mean that disrespectfully, by the way. I mean that lovingly. Okay, don't take offense. It's not a beer though. Um, it is. Yeah, somebody's talking about everybody nowadays. It's all about money, isn't it? Yeah. Yes, it is. It is all about money. And even if I offered to give it to them, they still rejected me. And that really irritates me. That really fucking irritates me, especially being that I helped that kid get his career started. Now, he'll say something different, of course. But you know what? I have the proof. I have the fucking proof. I have the videos. Like, I have videos of it. This cat was on my set, excuse me, watching me and my crew and my team of filmmakers who we ended up hiring for his film. Okay, after our film was done, he was watching, studying, learning. You're telling me that that wasn't beneficial? Okay, and you can't even give me the, like, I mean, you can't even appreciate. I don't want to say appreciate. That's not right. You can't even permit like a favor, even though I'm paying you. Like that is some bullshit. That leads me to believe that this is something more personal than I thought it was. You know, and whatever. You know what? That's watering the bridge. They lost out on my money. But they did say, "Oh, Adam, by the way, you and a guest can come for free." And you know, like they tried to backtrack. We'll put you on the VIP list and all that. Nah, nah, nah. I don't need to be on no VIP list. I don't need to be, seeing your event in any fashion. Fuck that. Fuck that. And I'm sorry to be so blunt with it, but this industry, I don't give two shits who I piss off, because at the end of the day, there's only one top dog, and that is my ego speaking. Let's see here. Sweden is my favorite country. Keep talking like nobody else has done this. Um, what do you mean exactly, Morgan? I'm curious to know what you mean by that. Um, but being a filmmaker, man, is not what it's cut out to being. Here's a story, very quick story, just because we're talking and we're all getting into like jive with one another. Oh wait, I will go into that in a minute. There's a question here. What's the latest project? Ombus 2. I have the teaser trailer. It's on my homepage of this channel. Please check it out. Give it a little like. Lou, I would really appreciate that. Seriously, the whole team would, because we made it for you. The only film I've ever made a direct sequel to, is Ombus, and that is because of you. All the YouTube comments on the first film, and the Amazon comments, and various other websites and reviewers and stuff, because of all your comments, that has wanted me to make a movie of Ombus 2, which means I don't want to be a one-trick pony, of course, but there are other films that I'm known for, like Prisoners of the Dead, Fang, Gore, if you're really into hardcore grungy stuff. Most of them are on my YouTube channel. Others, everything else, you can either watch on a streaming platform somewhere, or you can look at store placement if you're like somebody that likes like physical media. I know eBay has a store. I know Walmart has a couple of our films on their store. So if you're interested, you're right. A film is a director's baby. It is a director's baby. And I've done films that were not director's babies. There's a film on my channel called Star. Let's be brief with this. Not my favorite film I've directed, or wrote, or edited, or anything. And for many years, I didn't really acknowledge it. But then I started doing like, interviews with film YouTubers and film critics and stuff like that. And that is one question they always ask about, is that goddamn movie. I don't mean it in a You know, to the religious folks that follow goddamn, I don't mean it like that disrespectfully. I'm just using this sort of phrasing, so please don't be offended by it. I'll take it back. Okay, now we're going. Now that that's all done, I just hated the film. I absolutely hated the film. It was shot with the wrong time in my life. It was shot with the wrong people in my life, and yeah. But people love that movie for some strange reason. It's called Star, but the full name is, it's supposed to be like an ET type of spin-off type of thing. Not spin-off, but like its own thing. Star is an acronym for Space Traveling Alien Reject. Woo! You know. Hey, you know what else I want to say about, if I can just be brief to say this. You know what I want to say is, that filmmaker who basically said, get fucked to me, he, oh, fuck. Oh, he had the nerve to ask me, listen to this, he had the nerve to ask me to do a YouTube video on my channel, which has almost 1 million views, for his event. That is some fucking, like, ballsy ass bullshit if I've ever seen it in my entire professional filmmaking career. That is some real ballsy ass bullshit. Yeah, some are adopted. You are correct. Meaning the films that Star just was just like a bad. I don't know. Everything about Star is just not my favorite. In fact, the character, which was a puppet, is in my room right now, and he's in the corner of my room, just kind of thrown there, because eventually I want to do something with him, you know, like get him stuffed or something. But it's been since 2015, and he's just been kind of like laying around for a while. So you can see that my ambitions to get him stuffed is not very, very high. But anyways, this film was just like, I don't know if you follow Bill Obrist Jr. If you follow Bill Obrist Jr., here's a story. I filmed a movie with him called A Grim Becoming. And I asked him and Melantha Blackthorne, I said, hey, do you guys want to do a spin-off called Meet the Loonies, which would have been this crazy, crazy serial couple killer movie type of thing, just very awkward couple type of everything. Think of it like Beneath the Stairs. I think it's what is that Wes Craven film? Somebody help me out here. Underneath the Stairs or Beneath the Stairs, something in that fashion. And Melantha, 100% on board. In fact, we were able to work on another deal because this project ended up falling through. But Bill Obrist Jr. wanted X amount of dollars. And after I found X amount of dollars, then he wanted X amount of dollars more. And then he wanted writing credits. And, you know, I'm not saying anything bad about Mr. Obrist. I'm not. He's a very interesting dude. In fact, he stayed in my house in this very room that I'm in right now. And he's a genuinely personal person, of course. But you could tell he didn't want to do the project. Instead of just straight up telling me, hey, dude, don't waste your time trying to find this, the money or anything like that. I just don't want to do it. So he strung me along for a couple months, and then that film fell apart. It's the only movie that I've ever announced that ever fell apart right off the get-go. Oh yeah, you know what? You're right. You're right. I'm not trying to make any enemies. You know, Bill Obrist, talking about him, it's business, you know. It's only business. It's not personal. Personal, he was in my house. We were hanging out. We watched parts of the film. We were joking around. We had a good time, on a personal level. the problem with Mr. Obrist wasn't so much him. And it wasn't so much, getting more money. It was the fact that of his agent. His agent is what really killed the project, and that's because they wanted more and more money. And you know what? At some point, the filmmaker has to be able to make the money back. Like if I give you $5,000 or $10,000, how do I make that back if I don't have enough return on who you are? You know what I'm saying? Like you have to think in that logic. But yeah, that's my rant for today. If you've stuck through this entire thing, hope you've enjoyed it. If you want me to do more, leave a comment on this, and maybe I can do another one of these. This is a hot take, my friends, and hopefully it wasn't too hot for you with everything that I've said. But if you're new to just scrolling through the YouTube algorithm, if you're scrolling through the algorithm and you just happen to come across me, thank you for doing that. I really value you and appreciate you. And hey, check out some of the work that I'm doing, and we in the company that we work with are doing to produce for you, the audience goer. Anybody have any questions about anything? I mean, like life, love, and the American way. Well, I'm glad you follow. This is to bite. Bit. Sorry. I'm glad you follow from across the world. I appreciate you seriously. It's people like you and like Tony and the other people that have commented in this thread that have really helped me mentally lately. Try to get through the struggles I am getting through, but also want to continue to produce. So it's people like yourselves, so thank you for that. Let's see here. What else can we do with this? Hold on one second. Oh, we got a green screen here. Hold on a second, folks. I want to see something. No. I don't know what I did. Let's turn this off. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know. I mean, still getting used to this whole YouTube thing. And I hate to say that because I've been on it since 2008. Think about that. That's a long time. 15, 17 years almost. 15, 17. I don't know. Maybe somebody else. Yeah. Somebody else do the math on that. I'm not in the right mindset at the moment. I spend most of my days right now, like, not being able to do the movie stuff because I'm literally working on multiple lawsuits. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. And by law, my employer has to give me X amount of time to be able to respond and handle lawsuit type stuff. That has literally become my only job. And I can't even focus on any movie related shit. So if you notice, I've been posting a lot of like shorts of just, things from previous films or previous sets. And that's because like I can't focus on getting any new content done, like specifically Amos 2, which I'm struggling to get through. It's almost done too, which is the problem. It's not even the problem, meaning it's just my ambitions, my creativity has been very hurt over all this lawsuit stuff. And it's, my wife said to me last night, she said to me, she said, it's hard to say, guys. She thinks that I've lost part of myself as a result of all these legal issues. That includes the movie stuff. So there you have it. That's my story. Let's see here. Let me just say this: where I come from, back to bit. I'm sorry. I just want to say this: where I come from in the States, We are like living in like a modern day civil war. And I don't mean like, I can't even say not with guns and stuff because there's been incidents. But a lot of families have fractured. And if anybody is a historian buff, like I am, of course, um, one will know that the American Civil War was a really, really bad war. And with that, that war was not that long ago. Do you know, fun fact, I can't remember the year, but I want to, you know what? Let me look it up because I want to be right with this. Okay. The government, so the United States government held, hold on, two, it looks like, yes, for the 50th and the 75th anniversary of Gettysburg, which is a really big turning point in the American Civil War. But in 1930, or excuse me, 1913 was the first reunion, which meant the Confederate and the federal, however you want to say it. I don't want to say the United States because they're both United States. It's a weird way to say it. The Confederate and the federal forces, as they aged, they got together, and the federal government paid for their lodging, their expenses to get to Gettysburg for the 50th and the 75th anniversary. And I'm just reading here some facts about it. There was one thing here. The 50th anniversary had 53,000 attendees with 46 states. That's, or excuse me, from 46 states. And then the 75th anniversary, listen to this, the 75th anniversary of the Civil War that was hosted in 1938. 1938. So if you're doing the math on that, because I need to. That's not right. That is definitely not right. 87 years ago. That is the last time they held for the American Civil War. Okay? 87 years ago. Now, a lot has happened since then. Different wars, changed mindsets, united the country, divided the country once again. And I believe, and this is just my personal opinion, I believe it's a modern day civil war. I do. And I'm not really, I think this version of the Civil War is different than what the original version was with the whole slavery thing. Although there has been individuals that have recommended slavery. This one is more about ID. Well, the first, here I go again. Now you got me going about the Civil War and all that, folks. And I love history, and I know a lot about the Civil War. But I will say that only 1,845 people attended, veterans from the Civil War, were at the 75th in 1938, 87 years ago from today. So what I'm trying to say with all this, folks, is the country, the United States, is still a new country. It's still very, very new. And yes, we've been around for a while, but we also haven't been around for a while. Okay? Our ideologies within this country have been separated in two different ways for a very long time. All right. If your wife says you have lost part of yourself, take or ask her. Yeah. My wife's going through something similar to me too. Not in a legal sense, of course, but we have similar employers, and she's dealing with a lot. I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to go into too much of that. So there's a famous photo. If you ever go to Gettysburg, I think it's hung up in a couple of the places. But if you go to Gettysburg, there's a famous picture, and unfortunately, I don't think I can post it in here because I'm doing it on my phone. But there's this famous picture of a wall in Gettysburg where the Confederate uniformed soldiers and then the federal uniformed soldiers are shaking hands across this border where like thousands of people died, thousands. The government even had to hire after the war was over people locally to like help in the burial process for a lot of the Civil War vets. So the point I'm trying to make with all this, because I don't want to get, because I can geek out about Civil War all day, and I don't mean it in a good way, because the Civil War is a lesson, and it's a lesson that a lot of the United States has forgotten. But I will say that I enjoy just knowing a lot about that. Hello out there. I don't know who, Amando. Thank you for joining this festivity. What else was I going to say? So I just talked randomly about the Civil War. I know a lot about the Titanic. In fact, I have a lot of video on the Titanic. I've gone to a lot of exhibits with the Titanic, and I have so many photos and videos that I want to put together, excuse me, a project and release it at some point. But again, other legal woes are causing stress on me. And yeah. Hey, here's the thing. Let me see what else they have on here. Hello from the Philippines. It's nice to see you. Well, hear from you or read from you. Hopefully, yeah. In school, you learned about the war. Yeah, but yeah, in school, you do learn about the Civil War. There's a huge section of our like American cultural history lessons that we have to go through that talks about the Civil War. There's some that, and obviously we talk about World War One, but it seems oftentimes World War One isn't as glorified as World War Two, and it seems like World War Two is always the one that is talked about the most, and I think it's because like World War One ended in a way that did not leave all the parties happy, so it like set up the precursor to World War Two happening. Now, let's just talk about that for a second. Talking about how young the country is, right? So, World War II started in when? That was World War II started in general. The global conflict started in 1939. Okay? So, think of what I just said before about when the American Civil War was 1938. Okay? So what I'm trying to say here is the country never went through a rebuilding healing phase because they went right into a war because, as the way that the United States sees it is, the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor and that initiated some of the war. Well, they didn't initiate. I think it did a lot of initiating, in fact. But that like grew like a fire in all Americans, and like all the Americans united against a common evil, right? And that was in 1938 or 39 is when that started. Now, the U.S. Didn't get involved until 1941. So if we're continuing our calendar here or our calculator here, 2025 minus 1941, that's 84 years ago. That war, lasted, I believe, till 1945. So let's just put on there, I don't know. Let's just do this. That's 1945. Sorry. So that's now 80 years since World War II ended. But that wasn't enough because we as a country in the United States entered what we like to call Vietnam. Okay? Vietnam War. And I just want to make sure my dates on this because I'm not as hip on this as I am with the Civil War and World War II. But that war started in 1955. So that is now 70 years ago. Do you see where I'm going with this? Do you see how the timeline is starting to like fall in line with our politics and policies? So that war went from 1955 to 1975. Holy shit. I don't know if I knew it went to 1975. I knew it was the 1970s, but I don't know if I knew that. So now we're talking 50 years. Okay? We are now talking 50 years. And then what happened after that? Gulf War. What happened after that? Afghanistan, the Iraq War. So the countries opposing ideologies have always been a united. But when we are ununited, because there's not a common conflict or interest that we all can agree on, then the country fractures again. So 50 years, if you follow the entire timeline from what I've conversated to you today in the American Civil War to World War II and I, and then now to the Vietnam War, the country has never been able to heal in a way where it was able to process that PTSD, I guess you could say, for the country, not the people specifically, even though the people definitely had PTSD. And if you served in the military in the United States and you're watching this, thank you for your service, by the way. From the Steigerts, we recognize you and I appreciate you. But it's just an interesting concept to think that how young of a country we are, that we're having such turmoil. And I have gone way too stoner far into this. Okay, so we need to move on. Originally, this was supposed to be about acting and filmmaking, I think. This somewhere I lost that, I think. But here's what I'm working on. Trying to finish Ombus 2. Do you know I only need $280? If you are somebody that donates to Indiegogo, we need only $280 to finish our Indiegogo campaign. $280. And once that's done, like, our project's fully funded, which means I can finish the edit that I've been working on. We needed to raise $1,200. We rose about $1,000, and then we still have this $280. And normally I would just eat it, but because I got all these lawsuits going on, and all my time, money, and efforts are into like other things, I haven't been able to do anything more. And that is what really sucks, and it hurts because, like, I've been making movies for so long, and to be on the finish line, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're on the 1 yard line, but you can't get over that 1 yard line. It's just it's a tough mess. I say it, c'est la vie. You know what I'm saying? C'est la vie. What's the lawsuit about? Okay, the lawsuit about, and I have to be careful how I say this because although I'm not under any type of official agreement, I just don't want to go into too much detail yet, but I do plan to go into significant detail. The lawsuit is about discrimination, harassment, and, reprisal, retaliation. So that is what the lawsuit is about. And I've been dealing with it since 2022. And my lawyers have kind of drained me dry. Seriously, that sucks. They've drained me dry, and now I'm learning every moment of every day law by reading all these federal documents and stuff so that I can self-represent myself. But the thing here is with the lawsuit that I have, it is a policy making change, which means an entire workforce could use it to help them also in the policy issues. So there's a lot riding on this, and I just, I felt more that I trusted myself, and I didn't have any more money, man. I mean, when you spend within a year and a half more money than you make in a year, you have to ask yourself, is a lawsuit like that worth it to have lawyers that are not, like within 6 months. So within 6 months, I've had lawyers for 2 years. Within 6 months, I have been able to get a ruling already from a judge on something. I've also been able to have another court hear a case. I have another court filed. So it's like I was able to do all that, and they wanted like another huge chunk of money. Huge chunk. I am a chill dude most days. Lately, I've been trying to be a lot more chill, if you know what I'm saying, because things just have not been chill for me. Your father's a lawyer as well. If I win, it will be a civil rights policy movement change. That's what I'm talking about, like civil rights, American civil rights. And it will also, at this point, because of how long it's been, I have advised those attorneys on the opposing side that it's not going to be a small settlement. They had the opportunity to make a small settlement, but they wanted to, they targeted me. Like, they targeted me for YouTube, by the way. Crazy. Targeted me for YouTube. I've been doing this longer than I have had the job that I have, and they targeted me on it to try to get back at me too, as a reprisal thing. It's crazy. It's crazy. And for those that don't know, I don't know if I should say this, but I will. Because you know what? I'm proud of it. I am a federal employee in the United States. So, to all those that are enjoying the craziness and zaniness right now that's happening within the government, I thank you. Because you definitely have helped contribute to these lawsuits a little bit. Yes, bite, you're right. Bit, god damn it. Oh, didn't mean to say god damn it. Sorry. 100, okay. You're very right. There are still people alive from World War II. You know what I mean? So it's very, it's just very interesting to think on, like, how small the United States really is. And you can go back even further from that. You go back to other presidents. Right now, Trump is trying to, I don't know, get Greenland or something. That ain't going to happen. But, the whole fact that he's trying to expand like that, it doesn't really speak to American values. But, who am I? Just a voter. Yeah, you know what? Bit, you are very correct. My mental health has really suffered as a result of this lawsuit. And I'll just be brief with this too. If you're still watching this, it means you still want to talk and still care. So I'll just explain it. When I was a kid, I was abused, severely abused. If you've ever read the book A Child Called It, that book does share a lot of similarities to, like, what happened in my life. When I was a kid, I'm talking baby too, I was 10 days away from dying. I had human bite marks on me. It was pretty disturbing. And fast forward a couple of years, and my mental health has just been inflamed, I guess you could say, because of actions done by my employer, who are causing these flares to happen unnecessarily. I can't talk about. I mean, I won't talk about it. I'm allowed underneath. I'm allowed to have opinions about this and speak about things and all that stuff with Trump being a federal employee. But I will say, I don't. I don't think anybody really has good mental health right now. I honestly don't think it. I think families are very split, regardless to which side you're on. I think, and that doesn't help good with, somebody in here from the Philippines at one time said to me that, families, you come from a place, or I think that was from the Philippines. I'm sorry, it's way back up there. Whoever that was that said that. But from the Philippines, or not Philippines, but talk about how close people are with families. Like I've had the privilege in my life to go to like Honduras, um, um, Belize, Japan. I've been able to travel the not country but the world. I've also traveled the country to almost every state. Almost every state. I'm not through most of them, but I have about 13 or 14 done, and they're very like exotic ones like Alaska, like the capital of Alaska, or the capital of Hawaii. Like those are the ones I have that are really obscured. I live in New York, so a couple hour drive to Albany there, and I got that capital, and so there's quite a few of them that I've visited throughout my years. I should share some of those photos. I do post like comments and stuff on the post feeds. So if you ever get interested enough to take a look at the posts, maybe I'll share some of that stuff on there too. As far as things getting better, things have gotten worse, man. And I mean that metaphorically when I say man, things have just gotten worse. It's there's no matter what I can do. I mean, besides continue fighting for this, there's just nothing else I can do. There's like I'm too far invested into it financially, personally. Like my credibility has been destroyed over it. Just reading a comment. Where are you from? Can I ask where you're from? Bit. What country are you from? Curious. Anyways, um, yeah. So that's really been some of my story. Kind of went everywhere with this. Um, I'm exhausted, like mentally exhausted. You got to keep yourself like mentally like up to speed, and you got to take actions that will help you mentally to get you through things like this. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not trying to be. I'm just saying there's such negativity going on. It's like it's crazy to me. It's like employees and fighting employees, and neighbor fighting neighbor in either ideology or policy. It's crazy to me. I got you. That's okay. I got you. I appreciate that. I understand that and I respect it. Um, I'm just glad you're following and you're interested in hearing my nonsensical story. You know, um, I just appreciate you being here. I appreciate everybody being here. Yeah. And you know what happens when people lose decency around the world? I can tell you what, I mean, I don't have to tell you, history will tell you. A war breaks out. And you're starting to see wars break out. I mean, Ukraine has been at war for over 5 years. You know, America likes to say, well, we're not part of that war, although we basically are arming them, or we're arming them up until Trump came along. I'm not sure where that is at because it's literally left the mainstream media. You would have to dig on Google to find out what's going on with the Ukraine war. It's crazy. But then you have to look at the whole, Israel issue. There's that war going on, and how the United States is participating in that probably as well. I haven't been following that one very, very closely as of late. As of late, but I mean that's another war that is like, come on. And as much as I believe Russia is the initiator or aggressor in that whole conflict with Ukraine, I will say, Russia has people in it too. And Russia has people that are afraid of a World War III. But if you continue to try to have these ideals or ideologies of expansionism and not respect, borders or lines or whatever you want to call them, then it becomes a situation. I mean, we see it right now in the United States with Mexico to the states, or now Canada to the states. I go up to Canada regularly because I live close. I'm in New York, so we're very close to Canada, and I go up there regularly. And I'll tell you what, the Canadian people, the Canadian folks that are allowing Americans into the country, as I don't know what you want to say, as tourists, I guess. Uh, they ask a lot more questions now when you go over. I got asked once, this is recently, if I ever had a firearm in the vehicle I was driving. And I do own firearms, but I've never had one in that vehicle. Okay, um, so it's like it's crazy. It's crazy because they will look at your car and vehicle and tear it apart like they'll do in Mexico too, or excuse me, not Mexico, at the border from Mexico. But yeah, it is what it is. Uh, yeah, I mean, we have a lot of kids that are just punk kids that don't really. There's a lot of good kids out there right now, but there's a lot of unmotivated people, like a lot of kids that are unmotivated. You see a lot of people doing spring breakers, and you go to spring breakers, they're all of voting age, and you ask them a voting question or a history question or anything, and they are dumber than a box of rocks. That's even the right saying. People don't realize how important, I mean, I surely didn't until I got a little older, how important voting is, especially in the United States. I agree to that to a point, but the problem is, you know, I think Trump only won by 76 million. I mean, let's just look it up. I don't want to get this wrong. Okay, so the right now America has 341.1 million um, people living in it. And let me just see here. I'm just curious. Why can I not find this? Okay. Where is it? Right here. Is it? No, I don't know what I did with it. Oh, no, no. Yeah, I don't know how many people voted exactly. I'm not going to give an exact number, but I believe it was about 76 million. So you have to understand if either they don't vote or they're Democrats or other party affiliated entities, you can't just take a country of 76 people and then try to remove the hundreds and hundreds of other millions of people that are there. There has to be a common, like, there has to be a respect of each side's viewpoint to some respect. Oh yes, Hulk Hogan. Let's talk for him for a second. I was not a fan of him in his later years, but a huge Hulk Hogan fan when I was a kid growing up. Very huge. Really enjoyed watching early like '90s wrestling. But once I started finding out it was fake and stuff, I started getting to a point where I was like, oh man, well, maybe not this time. Maybe I'm done with this. I'm going to see a movie tonight, trying to help my mental health. It's the new Naked Gun, and although it may seem silly to you, or maybe it doesn't, Naked Gun has always been like a special part in my heart, and I always enjoyed I mean, the man was a legend. Leslie Nielsen, and now Liam Nielsen is playing his son. So you know what? I'm down. I seen Taken. I love Taken. I love Taken 2 and 3. You know what? I think he's a great action star in a sense, even though he's not an action star. I hate to admit this. I really hate to admit this, but I really enjoyed him in Schindler's List. I think that is what made me like him probably the most. Next to episode 1 of The Phantom Menace, because I enjoyed The Phantom Menace as probably one of my favorite, if not the second or first favorite Star Wars film. Judge me if you will. Judge me if you will. Okay? Judge me if you will. Well, I think that about does it for me. Oh, hold on. No, no, no. Unless you got questions, I'll stay as long as there's questions. There is multiple like little isolated communities of filmmakers. There's independent, there's amateurs, there's um, Hollywood. Any Hollywood actors I've ever hired, they've told me most of their work is like 95% outsourced. I've heard that more than one time from the talent in LA. So, I haven't watched Happy Gilmore yet, though. Is it any good? Because I've been trying to get to watch it with my wife, and we just haven't felt the determination to ruin our experience of Happy Gilmore 1 or not. So, is it any good? Out of 10, let me know, Tony. Let's see. Did I get anything else here? Anybody else? Let me just see. Thanks for hanging out with me again today, everybody. Is it average is best? Yeah. I mean, let me just ask to the person that said that, is it good enough to watch? Is it worth the time invested? Ooh, Altered State, 3 out of 10? Oh, that does not give me hope. Yeah, that was what I wanted to see is I wanted to see how Eminem was in that. Wait for streaming? Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just reading these comments again. Where was I? Oh, man. All right. I was looking for something. Okay, yeah, here it is. Um, it is, yeah, yeah. I do know, Tony. Yeah, I do know it's top in the United States, but to Altered State's point, I do think it is probably a serious cash grab, and I'm sure Sandler made a killing on that movie too. Wait till you hear he's making a Waterboy 2 or something, or what's the other one that he did that was really uh, Grown Ups? No, not Grown Ups. The one with the little kid. I can't remember what it was. It's sad to hear that it was a cash grab though. Like, really? Cash grab? That's sad. That saddens me. That really does. Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that, folks. Big Daddy. That is what it was. Big Daddy. Big Daddy. Hey, to anybody behind me that's wondering what that is, by the way, that is an apron from the Horrific Evil Monsters on top of the wolf head that was left from Fang with my wife's veil from us getting married. And if you can see, I don't know if you can see it. It might be over on this side a little bit, but there's a chain that goes around the neck that is from Fang. Altered State, that makes me sad to hear that. I may still check it out because I want to see how bad they did with it, but let me just get on this train quick if I can. Um, not watching Superman. We're not watching Superman in this household. I'm not a fan of what James Gunn did with DC. So if you are somebody that is, I'm curious to know what you thought of the new Superman film. Do small industries make money? Um, they can. I've only had one film that has ever allowed me royalties. So, and I've done. Actually, that's not true now. That is not true. Two films. Um, but it took many years to get there. It's more like if you have money and you want to put it into a fire pit and then just light it all on fire. That is what my definition of making a movie is. It's because it's just a money pit. It's a money pit. Now, like Ambus 2, I was talking about how I've been trying to raise money on Indiegogo. Well, Ambus 2, let me just see here. It's crazy to even think about what I'm about to tell you. Ambus 2's budget, where we're at right now with this, um, hold on a second. Why is this taking so long? I'm sorry, folks. Hang tight. Okay, so Ambus 2's budget is over $55,000. So 55,370.25 is where it's currently at. Um, yeah. So that, I mean, you could tell these films are not easy to make. Um, and there was a question here. How they don't, like, I have a day job. I work for the federal government. That's how I support myself. I don't make almost any money off of filmmaking. I've been hoping that I'll start making money on YouTube because it seems like everybody has been into YouTube lately and they, want to connect with people. And being the fact that I do film and, you know, I just felt like maybe it's time to do more podcast type things. So I'm going to be doing another one with somebody this weekend, a girl named Amber Braun. I'm looking forward to that. I hope I'm saying her name right. Amber Braun. Braun. Braun? Braun. We're going with that. You'll see it in the next few days. I'll have that probably out over the weekend or by Monday. Well, you know what? That's the other thing. I have literally heard that from so many people. Why don't I do movie reviews? I feel like it's so overdone on on YouTube that I could do a movie review if somebody really wants to hear my opinion on something. But you know what? I think there are so many other people's opinions on movies about the same movies that you probably don't need my opinion. And being a director, it's very hard to critique somebody else's work. Very hard because I know what goes into making a movie, you know. It's not an easy process, I can tell you that. Okay, cool. That's cool. On August 15th, I'll have to tune in. Hey, well, I think I'm going to wrap this on up. I got some nothing to do for the rest of the day. What is it? People like. Yes, negativity sells more than positivity, which is what goes back to what I said in the beginning here. If you were here with me in the beginning, you know, I see more negative comments than positive comments on things, and that's because negative comments are what people prefer to write versus positive comments. Over the years, I've learned that if I'm going to watch something, I always give it a like. I don't typically share, but I always give it a like. And if I'm watching it, that is, I give it a like, and then help that person with their algorithm. And yeah, wow, we've learned a lot today about me here, and I learned a lot about you. And I do hope you'll come back. I hope you'll check out some of my work. I hope you'll take a look at the posts and help when you can when I do the polls, because sometimes I like to ask my audience what their opinion of something is before I make it a final thing, because this Ombus 2 is my final legacy. Like, this is the movie I've been working 14 years to make, and if I don't do it justice and it looks terrible, which I hope it doesn't, I'll be very, very sad. But to everybody that participated, thank you very much. Hopefully we can make some money off this going forward, and maybe I can ease my worried mind on things. But then again, I got to do more lives. So if I do more lives, I hope you'll be there.